The samurai, a well formulated, well thought out code that includes loyalty, self control, respect, strike when it's right to strike, and die when it's right to die.
India has had the Kshatriya code where you would not fight an unarmed man, you would not attack children, you couldn't burn fields,
Even flowers, and flower gardens and fruit orchards.
Yeah, if a moment someone asked for mercy, you had to stop fighting and provide medical. In Afghanistan, the Americans lost the support of the locals. Was they used to break the host code, the guest rights code. Hi guys, thank you so much for joining this episode of the Bhagavad Gita series with my sister Bhavna Didi and me, Amish. Today we're going to discuss warriorship. How is it different from fighting, just normal fighting? What does Lord Krishna say about being a good warrior? So we'll start with chapter 2, verse 31. Swadharmam api chaveksha na vikampitum arhasi dharma yadhi yudhyachreyo nyat kshatriyasya na vidyate. Didi, the translation please.
Considering your duty as a warrior, you should not waver. Indeed, for a warrior, there is no better engagement than fighting for upholding righteousness. That is warriorship.
When you fight for dharma,
for dharma,
for righteousness, for that is that which is proper, balanced, that which is good.
And warriorship in so many cultures, it is a code. It is a system which has been adhered to down the ages for thousands of years. For instance, the Japanese Bushido code for the samurais. Right? A well-formulated, well-thought-out, code that includes justice, honor, honesty, kindness, courage, loyalty, self-control, respect, always, under all circumstances, strike when it's right to strike, and die when it's right to die. Balance kindness with courage. Do not set fear aside. But true courage is fighting despite the fear. Balancing aggression with compassion. The samurai, they maintain this code, not, a warrior. Warriorship is a way of life. So in your family life, in your social life, even when you're at war, it's a code by which they lived. Very powerful. And very, very cell level par it went down into their being, right?
No, and they were, if they felt or they believed at any point of time they hadn't been true to the samurai code, to the Bushido code, they had to commit ritual suicide. Seppuku.
Amish, there's seppuku and there's harakiri also. What's the difference?
Which are two different things. From what I know, and if there are any Japanese viewers, please correct us if we are wrong. From what I know, seppuku is the formal process for taking your own life if you feel you've lost honor. From what I know, the samurai warrior would wear white clothes. There would be others around as well, so there would be there would be witnesses. So, and it's done in a proper formal process.
A ceremony.
A ceremony. In some ways, you regain your honor by committing seppuku, because you lost your honor, because of which you had to do seppuku. But through seppuku, you regain your honor. You restore your name. And harakiri is actually without that ceremony. When it happens for any other reason, you essentially stab yourself, from what I know, below the navel. It's like their term for the chakra at navel. So
Hara
that is
chakra.
that is harakiri. That's the difference between seppuku and harakiri.
So the seppuku is a samurai way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct.
You know that
Bushido.
movie Last Samurai? Tom Cruise,
One
one
of
of
my
my
favorite
all-time
movies.
favorites.
And I know it was Himanshuda's favorite as well.
Yeah.
One of my
Right.
absolute
I used to
favorites.
call him my samurai. So there's that
The way a man
scene.
should be.
Yeah. You know, there's a scene in that movie in which, Tom Cruise is learning sword fighting and he's not able to because he's all over the place and he's losing. And this young samurai comes and tells him, no mind, no mind. Mind the sword, meaning mind is on the sword. Mind the sword, mind the enemy, mind the people watching. No mind, no mind. Because when your mind is free of thoughts and emotions, that's when you open up to everything.
You're not distracted.
You're not distracted.
And you find this across cultures actually, this warrior code. India has had the Kshatriya code, of honor, where you would not fight an unarmed man, you would not attack children, you couldn't burn fields,
Even flowers
even flowers.
and flower gardens and fruit orchards.
Yeah, if a moment someone asked for mercy, you had to stop fighting and provide medical aid. Um, Only fighting between, sunrise and sunset.
Yeah.
No fighting in the dark. This was a code that.
Sometimes they socialized.
Yeah.
Once the sun went down, they would
Is there in the
break
Mahabharata
yeah.
where they would kind of meet each other?
Yeah.
Yeah. This was a warrior, a code of honor.
Also, most importantly, they didn't attack places of worship.
Yeah, they never attacked places of worship. Yeah. This was part of the code of honor. And I think one of the things perhaps is this code of honor ensures that the capabilities of the warrior are used for the greater good, not for being a predator. Because if you have the skills of a warrior, if you have that strength and power, you can either loot that which is precious or you can protect that which is precious. What is better for society? Where there is a code. Because you'll notice societies where there is no code, where the warriors are essentially just predators. Like when the Turkic invaders came, to India, even their own societies were full of chaos and violence. Brothers killing brothers, fathers killing sons. But there was utter chaos because there was no code to guide the power and the capabilities of the warrior. And the solution is not to swing to the other extreme like in the modern West, where you go completely anti-warrior, where it's like a war against the masculine. You just neuter everyone. That's not good either, because you need your warriors to protect you when foreigners attack. But you want your warriors to work for the greater good of society. Maybe that's what the warrior code is supposed to be. That's what Lord Krishna says when he says it's about fighting for righteousness.
Righteousness, the right cause, the good cause. The Turkic, the Turks are fighters, they weren't warriors. I will go so far as to say. But that is very different from the Afghans, na? The Afghans had a, Pashtunwali code. They had a code.
One of the things that's forgotten today, and I'm not modern Afghanistan has suffered so much violence in the last 60 years. I mean, one superpower after another, endless violence. I mean, 60, 70 years, so essentially, if each generation is 25 years, I mean, nearly 2.5, 3 generations just destroyed like that. So modern Afghanistan is I don't know if it's a correct representation, but the Pashtunwali code, there was a proper code. It's the code that the Pashtuns had for how fighters must behave. That you must protect your family, protect your tribe.
Justice, honor, courage,
Honor,
loyalty.
the concept of guest rights. If you're a host, I'd read this somewhere when I was in London. I met a lot of diplomats, right, from various different things, and I'd met this. Wasn't an Afghan diplomat, but an Afghan refugee who'd, I guess, come to the UK, and he said among the things where the Americans lost the support of the locals was they used to break the host code, the guest rights code. So what happens, for those who don't know what what the guest right code specifies is that if you're a host and someone has come to your house, you cannot harm them, you cannot kill them, even if the guest is your enemy, right? It's like the host gives those guest rights. And this is one of the ways they used to have peace meetings in Afghanistan, where a third party, a host, would ask enemies that you can come and negotiate at my place, at my house, and I will ensure no one gets harmed. And that is, it's the honor of the host. Now, what Americans used to do, apparently, and because they were fighting with modern warfare techniques, right? So they would ask someone to call a Taliban person who they wanted to kill, saying that they're coming to negotiate. They would come, and if the negotiations didn't go well, they would just kill uh, the Taliban guy then and there, which would make the host very angry because that host has lost honor, right? And this is something the Americans were apparently thinking, this is what you do. But that's what you don't realize. You're turning the people against you because you're breaking something very deep in their culture.
So no Shatru Bodh.
No understand. I think, that's one of the differences I've seen from whatever one has read. And the British Raj did a lot of crimes in India. But there's one difference between the British and the Americans. The British were genuinely curious and they did actually want to and actually did understand many other cultures. That's how they knew which buttons to press and how to control a population. Americans, I find, are not as curious. They don't actually want to understand a local culture. They want to remake it to a version of themselves.
Themselves.
you know, like, I mean, there were programs in Afghanistan where they were trying to convince local Afghans that there are 72 genders apparently, which in Afghanistan is, I mean, what are you doing out there?
Bizarre.
Yeah. And they just wanted to make others versions of themselves, in which case you'll obviously never succeed in whether you want to control or trade or whatever with those people. If you don't understand them, how are you going to know what to do?
They didn't understand the Afghans, which is why they didn't understand one very important code in Pashtunwali, which is Badla, revenge. It's a very, very central,
very central piece.
rule.
central piece,
And they didn't understand it. And they
And if
suffered.
the father
and
can't
they
do it, then
suffered.
the son has to
Yes.
take that badla. It's
Yeah.
very, very
Yeah.
critical.
Yeah. And the Americans have suffered because of this lack of understanding.
And with so much firepower, they should have won easily,
Yeah.
right? But victory doesn't just come from weapons; it also comes from the mind. And
पर आजकल भी तो
knowing how to
रूल्स हैं जेनीवा कन्वेंशंस वो जो मॉडर्न वॉरफेयर के लिए रूल्स तो हैं
Oh, but the Geneva Conventions and Pashtunwali are two different things.
हाँ and it's not
and they're not-
necessary that the one is right and the other is wrong huh?
And they weren't fighting with professional armies which followed the Geneva Convention.
Yeah.
They're fighting in Afghanistan with Pashtunwali or Pakistan, which follows no convention. Pakistanis didn't even accept their own soldiers
I know.
dead bodies in Kargil. So I mean they have no code. But sorry, we got sidetracked. The key point is if you are battling someone, it's good to understand their code, their warrior code, because then you'll know how to win. And I guess there is a logic for some code, some warrior code to be there, so that you don't have a bunch of predators who are worse for their own society. That's a logic of a warrior code. Why a society needs it.
Yeah, a warrior is glorious.
Yeah.
A fighter is just crass.
Yeah, correct.
है ना?
I think this is a wonderful place to end this episode. Be a warrior, not a fighter. Have a code. If you did like this episode, hit like and subscribe below so that you can receive notifications when the next episode launches. Until then, from Bhavna Didi and me, thank you so much for joining us. Jai Shri Krishna.